So, there are no spoilers for My Hero Academia manga chapters this week, but I will be talking about spoilers, specifically the spoilers for My Hero Academia Volume 35. And there's some interesting information in this volume, so let's talk about it. But first, right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to cover the manga volume spoilers for My Hero Academia Volume 35. Yes, I've decided to do this. We are not having a chapter this week, so I decided that this is going to be the video that I'm going to put out to you. It's not the video that I had planned, but it is a video that I will hopefully be able to enjoy making, as well as you enjoy watching it. So let's dive into the spoilers for the most recent volume of My Hero Academia. And one major thing about this volume, besides the cover, is that we got a redraw of a very, I wouldn't want to say infamous panel, but a very controversial one. And it's the panel of Dabi, and he looks like he has a very sketchy design. Well, it has been confirmed that it has been redrawn in the volume, and that it was not something that was intentional. And realistically speaking, it was obvious that it wasn't intentional, but I still like the aesthetic of what it gave off. Yeah, it gives a more clear representation of Dabi's face in the redraw, but what we got was actually very interesting. It was very sketchy because it was a sketch, but I kind of liked that sketchy aspect of it because it gave it a really distinct flavor to it. It really showed Dabi as being different from everyone else, and I really liked that when it came to that panel. The one that we have right now is still very cool, but I kind of have a preference for that sketchy style. So that's something very interesting, as well as we get to see flames in the background, so that was also cool. And another thing that I want to touch on is the actual cover of Volume 35, which is a very beautiful image, but it also has some controversy with it as well. Because the cover of My Hero Academia Volume 35 is actually a reused color page or magazine cover for My Hero Academia when it had the cover of Shonen Jump. And people are really arguing with the idea that, oh, Hirokoshi is being lazy, he's being rushed, he's reusing this cover. It means that he's not doing a good job. When we actually get a comment for why he's actually doing it, and he did it because he thought it was cool. And frankly, I'm okay with it. He didn't really need to redraw an entirely different cover because that cover in itself was very cool with Shigaraki at the bottom and Deku on top, and they have their hands like this. It was a very cool color page and a very good manga volume cover, and I just really enjoyed it. Even with that, there were some slight differences with the actual cover. For instance, the length of Deku and Shigaraki's coats are a little bit longer, and Shigaraki's hair is a little bit longer as well in this scene. But either way, it is a very cool volume cover, and I really do enjoy it. So let's get to more of the spoilers that we are going to be getting in Volume 35, and one of them is that Shinzo and Monoma are appearing in the flap, which is most likely the cover of what is covering up the actual volume, and we're going to be seeing them there. And when it comes to Shinzo's hero costume, that was actually prepared in advance since he was about to transfer to the hero course, and that it's mostly black because it's strongly influenced by Aizawa and is tweaked since the exhibition. And then you have Deku saying that you look like a ninja, that's cool, and Kaminari is like, do a Rasengan, come on. And I think this is very interesting because it means that when it comes to Kaminari and in My Hero Academia, Naruto exists in their world, and that's just fun to see. Talking a little bit about Monoma in the Volume 35 spoilers, Monoma apparently plays an extremely important role in manipulating the situation, but he's not a fixer / the mastermind. And I think this kind of like implies that Monoma was not the one that thought about using his quirk to actually copy Kurogiri's as well as Eraserhead's Erasure quirk, that most likely that was Erasure's plan, but that he is just serving as a way to manipulate the situation, but he isn't really like fixing it or is the mastermind behind it. So that's cool to get that information from these spoilers. And something else interesting that we get in the spoilers is Deku's new costume, which is Costume Z for Zeta, and that this most likely implies that this is his last costume change, which makes sense because Zeta is like the end, as we got Alpha as being the beginning. And from what we see here, Costume's name follows the Greek alphabet, of course, so we know Dark Deku's costume was E for Epsilon, so that's interesting. And we get to see that his costume is a dark green, almost black, and that this was designed by May with limited supplies and time. The costume reflects the trial of the path Deku has taken. So it's very interesting. I do not have like everything exactly explained to us because obviously it is in Japanese, but we get to see a little bit more of where his costumes are and certain like points that needed to be pointed out for how it works, as well as we get to see that he still has Gran Torino's cape, which is also cool. And apparently we get more confirmation for a change in Katsuki's costume, which most likely we know this by the time that the spoilers came out. The most recent chapter shows that, yeah, Bakugo does get a new design, but we get a little bit more information in this chapter, spoilers for the volume. There's smiths attached to his shoulder parts. Compared to Deku, he hasn't seen much change in Katsuki's costume except for his winter clothes, but now it's finally changing. Katsuki's feelings are changing too. Most likely this is alluding to the most recent chapter where we get to see that Katsuki Bakugo's feelings have changed along with additions to his hero costume, so that's also cool to see. And speaking of Katsuki, something else interesting that Horikoshi brings up is that he hasn't seen or been able to draw Dabi differently from Katsuki Bakugo. Since his hair turned white, they have a similar haircut and he can't draw chibis or cheekbones most likely. So it's very interesting to see and come to this realization that Dabi and Katsuki look very much alike. Speaking of Dabi, we actually get an explanation for how he got his costume or his new attire, and that his costume is superheated resistant and resembles a funeral shroud, embedded with only a desire for revenge against his father. And apparently the Detonarak company is not currently working, but Skeptic has access to the data and he's able to use the company's tech even under these circumstances. So it's confirmation that these new clothing that Dabi has was created by Skeptic and involved with Detonarak company or Detonarak Co. And we get a little bit later on that it wasn't just Dabi that got this enhancement, but is also another character that we're going to get to later on. But there's also a little bit of information that said that they are manufacturing items in the workshops scattered throughout the cities where people have evacuated. He's glad he brought Skeptic along. So yes, it is confirmed that these are things that were scattered throughout the city that Skeptic was involved with, and that he's actually serving a major part in this story, even if it's in a minor way. And we do have a few more sketches of Dabi's new costume, and that the concept is supposed to be dressed for a funeral, but it ended up looking like he should be holding a lightsaber in a way that he looks like most likely a Sith. So yeah, that's very interesting, or a Jedi. Either way, that's cool, and it just shows that Horikoshi likes wearing his inspiration on his sleeves. But now we get to something that is even more interesting, and it's kind of an explanation for what happened when Dabi left the orphanage. Because we get an explanation that in chapter 350, Toya struggled with Sun Harukai, the Sunflower Man, and escaped using his flames. The weak flames didn't burn down the building. The fire was extinguished immediately. Flower Man, in fear, burned the place himself to conceal the secret of the place. And this is very interesting, and that there are some discrepancies with this type of translation. Not that Dabi didn't go up against Sun, but about who actually burnt down the actual organization or the orphanage. Because it's explained a little bit later that since no one died, it wasn't a big news, and unfortunately, the heroes and the police didn't find out about the doctor's crimes. It's an ironic turning point that if it had been treated as a major case, we wouldn't be in the situation we are now. So it could be that the doctor actually set the fire, but I think that most likely than not, it was the Flower Man who set the fire, because it just makes sense that he will be the one to set the fire because he was most likely the one that was there, and that maybe Dr. Garaki wasn't there at the moment. Also, we got his name revealed, so that's also something very cool. But now we're getting to the other person that actually got new equipment, and it's explained in this chapter how they got that new equipment. And it's explained in this volume how they got their new equipment, and that is Himiko Toga's items. So apparently she has her new vampire neck, which is a new mechanism. Fangs can be changed into syringes, and she has a hover jet tracking function, and that this was made using Detonarat's data. The belt has blood capsule storage cases. There's a blood tank on her back, and she has suck syringes beta. Also, we get to see an image of Uraraka looking very cute. So yeah, we get to see that she gets her new costume and she gets her new syringes because of Detnerat, because of Skeptic, so that's interesting. And now we're getting towards like the lesser, more important parts of the spoilers. We get a short story involving how Troy and other contraptions were made using the power of these three and planning from Nezu, where we get to see Power Loader, Cementos, and Compress. That the original idea that was made was to make Yue a robot, probably inspired by the Sunrise anime or mecha anime, and that Hirokoshi kind of wanted to draw that. So yeah, many people believe that there was like a robot theory that Yue would transform into a giant robot, but unfortunately that's not the case. And even in story, it was kind of hinted at that could be a possibility, but it was never straight up stated that it could actually do that. So it's something that Hirokoshi thought of, but decided not to go through with it. So yeah, after that, we just get a few images of Horikoshi drawing images of both Popstep and Koichi, as well as Beten drawing an image of Deku. These are very cool and very artistic images, so that's cool. Apparently, it seems as if Beten wanted to draw more slice of life moments with the trio after the end, which is very unfortunate. And apparently the idea of it is that Koichi and Popstep actually don't get together at the end of the story, which is kind of true, but we do kind of know that they do have feelings for each other, so that's also cool. But yeah, now we're pretty much at the end of the volume where we get some more information revealed. We actually get the information of All For One spies, and that the guy is named Tajami, and that the spy lady is Mihala, and that apparently Hirokoshi makes like a reference to the fact that Shigaraki's fingers are disgusting, which, I mean, yeah. As well as we get hinted at what's going to potentially be in the next volume, volume 36, with apparently Spinner getting a makeover in the next volume. Look forward to it. This could imply that within the next few chapters, we're going to be focusing on the fight with Spinner, which that's going to be amazing. Or in the next volume, we're going to have a focus on what happened to Spinner and how he became super buff and powerful. Also, something else that I forgot to bring up is that we're going to get Mirko and Bakugo on the back of volume cover 35 of My Hero Academia, as well as there's going to be a cover inside of this volume of Momo with multiple weapons coming out of her exposed area. Yeah, those are some things that I forgot, so I'm going to add them here at the end. So, all right, let's cut back over to what I was saying at first. So yeah, that's pretty much all the spoilers that we have for volume 35. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the spoilers. So this is something that we will not be getting for a long while, which is why I'm making the video now. But this does not mean that this is a perfect substitute for it, because there's some stuff that we could have gotten wrong that we really won't get officially corrected until the actual volume comes out. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about the spoilers for this volume of My Hero Academia. Did you enjoy this video? What was the best part of the volume spoilers that you enjoyed the most? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more My Hero Academia content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!